She doesn't need applause to make an impact. In fact, she rarely seeks recognition at all. There's something extraordinary about those who work tirelessly behind the scenes, whose strength is quiet but undeniable. The world often glorifies the loud and the visible, the ones who shout their victories from the rooftops. Yet it's the silent forces, the steady hands, that labor with purpose and resilience, who truly shape the world. They don't clamor for attention, they create legacies. She is one of those silent forces, and her impact echoes far beyond what most people will ever know. We live in a world obsessed with immediacy, immediate success, immediate praise, and immediate validation. But the truth is, the most enduring achievements are rarely built in haste. They are forged through patience, persistence, and the kind of quiet resolve that doesn't falter under pressure. She embodies that. Her strength isn't measured by grand displays of power, but by her ability to remain steadfast when everything around her trembles. The strength of a tree lies not in its branches, but in its roots, and she knows this deeply. Her roots run deep, anchoring her through storms that would break others. Think about the power of a river carving its way through stone. The river doesn't scream as it flows. It doesn't announce its intentions. Yet over time, it shapes the land itself, carving canyons that stand as monuments to its persistence. That's her. Moving mountains, not with noise, but with the quiet, deliberate force of her will. She doesn't rush, for she understands that real progress takes time. She is unshaken by the pace of others, unbothered by the distractions of fleeting trends. Her focus is razor sharp, her purpose unyielding. It's not easy to be the silent force in a noisy world. Silence often feels like invisibility, and invisibility can feel like irrelevance. But she knows better. She knows that the most powerful forces are often the ones you can't see. Gravity, for instance, holds the universe together, and yet you never hear it. Her will operates the same way. It's not about being seen or heard. It's about being effective. She understands a profound truth. It's not the size of your actions, but the consistency of your effort that moves the needle. There's a quiet kind of courage in what she does. It's easy to act when the world is watching, when there's applause waiting at the end of your efforts. But it takes a different kind of strength to labor in obscurity, to pour your heart and soul into something that might never earn you recognition. That's not weakness, that's power. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it, they say. She has learned to triumph over the fear of being overlooked, knowing that the value of her work isn't diminished by the lack of an audience. Her journey isn't without struggle. She faces the same doubts, the same fears, and the same setbacks as everyone else, but she doesn't let them define her. While others might crumble under the weight of adversity, she digs deeper. She knows that every challenge is an opportunity to grow, to become stronger. The oak tree grows strong, not in the absence of storms, but because of them. Her life is a testament to this principle. Each storm she endures adds to her resilience, making her an even greater force to be reckoned with. What makes her truly remarkable is her selflessness. She isn't driven by a desire for personal glory. Her work, her struggles, and her victories are all in service of something greater than herself. She understands that true fulfillment comes not from what you take, but from what you give. And she gives wholeheartedly. Her time, her energy, her love, without expecting anything in return. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. She has found herself in that service, and it has made her whole. There's something profoundly human about her journey. She reminds us that greatness isn't reserved for the loud or the flashy. It's available to anyone willing to put in the work. Her story isn't about extraordinary talent or luck. It's about showing up day after day with the kind of grit and determination that refuses to quit. It's a reminder that we all have the potential to move mountains, so long as we're willing to embrace the grind. Her life is a quiet revolution against the idea that you need to be the loudest voice in the room to make a difference. She shows us that there's another way, a better way, a way that values substance over style, action over talk, and purpose over popularity. In her, we see the power of a life lived with intention, a life that doesn't seek validation from the outside world, but finds fulfillment within. As you reflect on her story, ask yourself, what mountains could you move if you embraced the power of quiet persistence? What could you achieve if you stopped worrying about who's watching and focused instead on the work itself? The answers to these questions could change your life. Because the truth is, we all have a bit of that silent force within us. We all have the ability to move mountains if only we'd believe in our own strength. In the end, her legacy won't be measured by the number of people who knew her name. It will be measured by the lives she touched, the mountains she moved, and the example she set for others to follow. She shows us that real power isn't loud or flashy. Real power is quiet, steady, and unrelenting. It's the kind of power that changes the world, one silent act at a time. Let her story be a reminder to all of us, a reminder that you don't need to shout to be heard, you don't need to be seen to make an impact, and you don't need recognition to create something meaningful. What you need is purpose, what you need is persistence, and what you need most of all is the unwavering belief that your efforts matter, even when no one is watching. Because they do. They always do. Strength isn't always about making noise. It isn't always about standing on the tallest platform and shouting your achievements to the world. Sometimes strength is the quiet persistence of someone who refuses to give up, no matter how heavy the burden or how steep the climb. It's the person who carries their struggles in silence, not because they are weak, but because they understand that their purpose is greater than their pain. She is that kind of person, the embodiment of a quiet, unwavering will. Her strength lies in her ability to endure, to push forward and to rise above, even when the world around her feels like it's falling apart. The world often celebrates the loudest voices, the most visible victories. We are conditioned to believe that if people don't see our efforts, they don't matter. But the truth is, the most powerful transformations often happen in the quietest moments. A seed grows in darkness beneath the soil before it ever reaches for the sun. A river reshapes landscapes not with a roar, but with a steady, persistent flow. She understands this. Her power doesn't come from being seen or heard. It comes from her ability to act with consistency, even when no one is watching. Character, they say, is what you do when no one is looking. And her character is forged in the fires of discipline and purpose. There's a certain beauty in her silence. It's not the silence of inaction or resignation. It's the silence of someone who knows exactly who she is and what she's working toward. She doesn't need to broadcast her plans or seek validation from others. Her confidence isn't loud because it doesn't need to be. She moves with intention, knowing that the results of her actions will speak louder than any words ever could. Be so good they can't ignore you, they say, and she takes that to heart, not out of arrogance, but out of a deep understanding of her own worth. Her journey hasn't been easy. No meaningful journey ever is. There have been moments of doubt, times when the weight of her responsibilities felt unbearable. But instead of breaking under the pressure, she used it to make herself stronger. Pressure, after all, is what turns coal into diamonds. She has learned to embrace the challenges that come her way, not as obstacles, but as opportunities to grow. Adversity, someone once said, introduces a person to themselves. And through every hardship, she has discovered more of her own resilience, more of her own potential. What's remarkable about her is that she doesn't seek to control what she cannot. She understands that life is unpredictable, that there are forces beyond her influence. But within the sphere of what she can control, her thoughts, her actions, her reactions, she is unwavering. She has mastered the art of focusing her energy on what truly matters, of letting go of what she cannot change. You cannot control the wind, the proverb goes, but you can adjust your sails. And adjust she does, with a grace and determination that inspires everyone around her. Her strength is rooted in her purpose. She doesn't just work hard for the sake of working hard. She works hard because she believes in something greater than herself. Whether it's her family, her community, or a vision she holds for the future, her efforts are always in service of something meaningful. This sense of purpose gives her the strength to keep going, even when the road gets tough. He who has a why to live, said Nietzsche, can bear almost any how. Her why is clear, and it fuels her every step. There's a quiet kind of courage in her actions. It takes courage to show up every day, to put in the work without knowing when or if you'll see the fruits of your labor. It takes courage to keep moving forward when the world feels like it's moving against you. But she does it anyway, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. She understands that the path to greatness is rarely straightforward, that it's often littered with setbacks and sacrifices. The road to success, they say, is uphill all the way, and she is willing to climb no matter how steep the incline. Her life is a testament to the power of consistency. While others are swayed by distractions, by the lure of instant gratification, she stays focused on her goals. She understands that small, consistent actions over time lead to extraordinary results. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. This principle guides her, and it has made her unstoppable. She doesn't rush the process, doesn't seek shortcuts. She knows that real success isn't built overnight. It's built through years of dedication and perseverance. Perhaps what's most inspiring about her is her humility. Despite all she has achieved, she remains grounded, always willing to learn, always willing to grow. She doesn't see herself as better than others. She sees herself as someone who has been given the opportunity to make a difference, and she takes that responsibility seriously. To whom much is given, much is expected. She carries that expectation not as a burden, but as a privilege. Her humility makes her approachable, her strength makes her admirable, and together they make her unforgettable. Her story is a reminder to all of us that true power isn't found in noise or spectacle. It's found in quiet, deliberate action. It's found in the person who shows up day after day without needing applause or recognition. It's found in the one who keeps going, even when the path is uncertain, even when the odds are against them. She is proof that you don't need to be the loudest voice in the room to make an impact. Sometimes the quietest people are the ones who leave the biggest mark. As you reflect on her journey, let it challenge you. What mountains could you move if you embraced her quiet persistence? What could you achieve if you stopped chasing validation and started focusing on the work itself? The answers to these questions could change your life, because the truth is, we all have the capacity for greatness. We all have the ability to move mountains if only we're willing to put in the effort to endure the challenges and to believe in ourselves. In the end, her legacy won't be measured by the number of people who knew her name. It will be measured by the lives she touched, the challenges she overcame, and the example she set for others. She reminds us that true strength isn't loud, it's steady. True courage isn't showy, it's enduring. And true success isn't about being seen, it's about making a difference. Let her story inspire you to find your own strength, to embrace your own courage, and to create your own legacy. Because like her, you have the power to move mountains. All it takes is a quiet, unwavering will.